Hey friends, got a beautiful day, kind of an Indian summer day here in northern Colorado. I'm in the little town of Bellevue, which is just to the north and west of Fort Collins. Thought I would take advantage of the warm weather and sneak out for a little ride, kind of try to clear my head a little bit and take you guys on a little trip. It's mid-December. There's some ice. The temperature today is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and I call it an Indian summer day because that's the term that we use for a warm day, an unseasonably warm day after it's gotten cold and snowed in the fall and the winter. And I think today definitely qualifies. We're probably 15 or 20 degrees above the average temperature, and the sun is out. Sky's not as pretty as it would be if we had clouds. Hello, horses. But it's still just a beautiful day. Everybody's out trying to take advantage of it. Got lots of cyclists. I would expect that we'll see some other motorcyclists. But anyway, I thought I'd hop on the Vespa and head out to the hills and just kind of relax a little bit. It's been a while since I've made a Vespa video. Don't really have a destination in mind for this one. Don't really have a concept in mind for this one. So it's really just going to be a kind of ride and chat, I suppose. The last videos that I made were the videos of my trip to New Mexico on the big bike, the Yamaha Super Tenere 1200. And I did a sort of on-road, off-road trip across New Mexico on that bike. And it's been a while since I've done a Vespa video. It's not that I haven't wanted to do one. I've just been traveling and I've been busy and the weather's been kind of yucky. And woke up this morning and looked out the window and saw a beautiful day, so here we are. I checked the bike before I came on the ride. I checked the tire pressure, and looked like he was just changing. At first I thought maybe he had a flat, but he had a big smile on his face, so I think he was happy to see the Vespa. He looked okay. Anyway, I checked the tire pressure and I checked the oil, and one of the few changes that I've made to this bike is the addition of the oil pan with the built-in sight glass, which is an aftermarket item made by a German company. Look at all the sand on the road. It's been salted and sanded a couple of times. We've had snow a couple times this season, so I'm going to take it pretty easy through here. But anyway, one of the nice additions that I've made to the bike is the oil pan with a sight glass in it. A sight glass is just a little round window in which you can see the oil level, and it's been super handy. For the first little while when I've owned this bike, I didn't really see much oil usage at all. But after the trip where I went to the highest paved road, when I came back from that trip, I'd spent a couple of hours on the highway, and then I'd spent, you know, the time that it took me to go up and down the mountain and kind of ride around a little bit. And so it was really just a solid day of probably 10 hours of pretty intensive riding. And I found that I had some oil usage after that trip, and I've been checking it ever since then. And I actually haven't ridden a whole lot because I was out of town, and then the weather got nasty, and so I haven't seen a whole lot of oil usage since then. But having that sight glass is so nice. Sandy, slippery. There's still a reasonable amount of snow up here in the shady spots. it's been so warm, I'm surprised more of it hasn't burned off. Although the last few days have been, they've been warm, but it's been very cloudy, and so even though the air temperature was about 40 degrees, it felt cold. On a day like today, if the air temperature, well, the air temperature up here probably is below 40 degrees, but it actually doesn't feel that cold because the sun is just so intense. If I were sitting in the shade, I'd definitely be cold, but when I'm in the sun, I'm okay, and even with the wind. But I'm a pretty cold tolerant guy, so what can I say? Okay, gonna stick to this wheel track up the hill, over the top, and we are coming into a really pretty valley here. Some beautiful old farms down here. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful holiday. Hope everybody's doing well. I know some of you live in places like this that get snow this time of year, and others not so much. But whatever the weather is, I hope you guys are able to get out on your bikes and enjoy some nice rides. And I hope that you have some nice time to spend with friends and family over the holiday. Things are a little bit crazy in our world right now, and it's always nice to slow down and think about what's important and be with the people that we love. And that's my wish for you. Now we're almost up at the top here, and we're coming down a pretty steep 12% grade. Got some pretty mountains in the distance. We can do it with no hands on this hill. This is such a big hill. We're gonna gain speed gain speed the whole way down. I'm gonna have to brake in a second. We're gonna run into this guy. It's a steep hill for sure. Get pretty good gas mileage on hills like this, right? So, you know, some people talk about the GTS wobble. I don't know if you saw it. I got just a little bit of a wobble there. So far on this bike, I really haven't had much of a wobble. I know Steve at Scooter in the Sticks on his older GTS, what is it, a 2006 or 2008, in one of his more recent videos, he was talking about how the wobble has gotten worse and worse. My guess is it's the steering bearings, or you know, something in the front end, something in the suspension, you know, the steering components. But anyway, on this bike, I've been blessed with no wobble, and I don't have a rear box or anything, which may actually add, the fact that I don't have one may add to the front end stability. I think as you add probably weight and wind resistance to the rear, you may be more likely to get that. But anyway, it's I don't often ride with no hands, but that hill is kind of the perfect place to do it. But what a pretty day. It's kind of a treat to have a warm day like this after it gets cold. And it's been sunny enough over the last week or so that I'm confident that the roads are clear. And when the temperature gets as cold at night as it does here, which is down into the teens, the ground starts to, you know, stay pretty cold, particularly in the mornings. And so one thing you have to watch out for, in addition to all the sand on these corners, is in the mornings in particular, you know, like morning rush hour traffic or that sort of thing, guys will, that's not what I'm trying to say, cars will have quite a bit of condensation coming out of the exhaust. and so that drips down onto the asphalt or the concrete and freezes. And so even if the roads are dry in terms of there not having been any wet weather or melted snow and ice, sometimes you get little patches of that condensation, you know, particularly where, you know, cars might sit in front of an intersection, a red light, something like that. And so you really have to watch for little patches of ice that are often difficult to see from that. But on a day like today, I'm not particularly worried. The sun is so intense that the snow is basically skipping the liquid stage. It's probably going from frozen to vapor pretty quickly. There hasn't been any runoff from melted snow on the streets that I've seen, and I think we're probably pretty good. You never know. I mean, you can always come around a corner and there's a spot where the hill is draining across the road, and you've got a slick spot. But anyway, let's stop and look at the frozen creek here. Let that guy get ahead of us. Yeah, I can really feel the temperature drop down here. Just gonna leave that blinker on. Can crunch through the snow. You can see the water flowing there. I don't know if you guys can hear it. The mic is in my helmet, but it sounds really nice. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Is this a nice place to ride or what? Pretty. It's a great Vespa road, I must admit. Off we go. It's a big wall of rock, isn't it? That creek is pretty down there with the sun coming off of the water. That might have been a better place to stop. Yeah, the temperature difference when I come down into the shade here, it feels like it's probably 20 degrees cooler here than in the sun here. Amazing difference in temperature. Kind of pretty with the snow along the road. This guy's gas cap is dangling down on the phone. Your gas cap is dangling down there. Oh, do you want me to screw it in for you?
Sure.
You're welcome.
Yeah!